Yo, what's up? Another episode of Bringing the Business, man. BC and Nick in the house. What's the word, Nick?
Man, I ain't gonna say a sad day, but it's a day, man, to honor a legend, man, who finally hanging it up, man.
Hey, and without further ado, we're not even finna take the time to waste without just jumping right into the topic, man. So what you're talking about is the Chicago's own, the great Derrick Rose has decided to hang it up from the NBA after what, 16 seasons?
Yep,
After
yep.
16 seasons in the NBA, man. So, um, one thing about okay, I'm gonna ask you this: what's your when somebody just say the word, say the name Derrick Rose, like in a few words, what's the first thing come to mind? First of all, in one word, what's the first thing come to mind? One word. Start off with
One
one word.
word, one word. Man, that
I'm gonna
one
give you my
word is
I'm gonna give
crazy.
you my one word while you think.
Go ahead.
Chicago.
Okay. Uh, yeah. I mean, either that or I say, a legend, man.
Legend.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, eh, just describe to me what comes to mind, period, in as many words as you want when it comes to when you hear the name Derrick Rose.
Uh, Man, one of the most explosive, the most feared point guards that ever played a game. When he was in his prime, man, nobody could mess with him. I don't care who you name. Name anybody that played in his era at the point guard position, at the shooting guard position, and whoever. And nobody was explosive as he was. You know what I'm saying? Like you could put other people in there who was good guards, but nah, man, people feared that man when he's out there on that court. So you know what I'm saying? Like I want to talk about this anyway because I know one of your criteria was in order to get in the hall is if can you mention basketball without mentioning Derrick Rose? And my answer to that is no,
I,
you can't.
and so for me, when I hear the name Derrick Rose, me being a Chicagoan, one of the first things come to my mind is like excitement and uh, rejuvenate.
Yeah,
You know, in my 40 something years of living, I'm gonna say when it comes to the Chicago Bulls in particular, this is the second greatest period in Chicago Bulls history. As far first of all, it might be winning, and as far as excitement goes, you
yeah,
know what I'm saying. You know, obviously the first time frame comes when Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen was winning 6 championships.
right.
That was unmatched. Like we was growing up in that era. You know what I'm saying? We were fortunate enough, whether it was way at the top in the 300 levels or whatever, we was fortunate enough to go to these games and
Hmm.
see how exciting and how crazy the Chicago Stadium at that time and then turned into the United Center used to be.
Right.
And then we went through um, 10 years of mediocre to bottom feeder basketball here in Chicago.
Right.
And Derrick just came and turned it up for us again. And even though we didn't win a championship during that period, that made basketball here fun again. That made us be at work or be at the gym, be wherever you were, and you had to run home at 7 o'clock to catch them Bulls again
Yeah.
on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. You know what I'm saying? Like he brought that type of excitement back to the city. He brought it back when people was having watch parties again, where you was getting together on, like I say, on a Tuesday and Wednesday to go watch the Bulls because of the excitement that he brought to the city. I would say especially in about a 3-year span. Now, later on, when he did come back from injury, the excitement was still turned up or whatever. But that first 3 years, what I'm saying, from his rookie year to the injury was like I say, only second to the Michael Jordan era when it
Yeah,
came
I
to
agree.
watching basketball here in Chicago.
I agree with you. I agree, like 100%. I mean, I think what I always honored about him and admired about him is that how he just came and hoop. You know what I'm saying? He just came to play the game. It wasn't no big hoopla about him. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't out there trying to be flashy or none of that. You know what I'm saying? He was just a hooper. You know what I'm saying? People say, man, he the silent assassin. You know what I'm saying? He'll come out there and give you 30 and don't say shit. You know what I'm saying? He'd go out there and kill your the greatest star on your team, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no trash talking, none of that. Just came out there and did what he did. I mean, it's unfortunate the injury, you know what I'm saying? But man, the years that he played in Chicago, even after he came back from injury, still was explosive. When he got to New York, that year when he got traded, he still was hooping. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm an ultimate Derrick Rose fan. Just overall. I love his game. I love the way he went about playing the game. And like I said, man, I don't give a fuck. I can argue this all day long. I don't give a fuck what point guard you say. None of them fucking with him. None of them want to suit up in front of him. I'm gonna tell you that much right now. None of them want to suit up in front of that man. And then it's just God willing that, because of injury, he wasn't able to be the same player like that he was those first, 3 years. And then, like I said, when he got to New York, he still was hooping. I want to say years after that, he still was hooping pretty good, but he wasn't the same. But I'll say this, man, that's within God's will. You know what I mean? And I say that because I honor the man. That's within God's will. Sometimes God puts you through situations to make you a better person just outside of basketball.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that's what happened. I think the injury gave him time to sit back and reflect on just life and who he wanted to be as a person. And that's the byproduct of what we see now with Derrick Rose. You know what I'm saying? Now as a hooper, man, I'm gonna always miss him being on that court. Because every time, even when he wasn't 100% and he was getting hurt, man, I still want to see him play. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I'm a forever miss having him on that court because, like, as you know, and everybody that know me, that's my favorite player, man.
Man, so also we got to look back to the year at Memphis. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? That was a great year. He helped, with some other players and stuff like that, but he helped bring excitement to to college basketball as well. You know what I'm
yep.
saying? On that Memphis run, him and Chris Douglas Roberts and them made it to the Final Four? No, they made it to
They
the
made it to the final.
championship
They made it to the
to the
championship game.
championship, and they
Lost to
lost to who?
Kansas.
Kansas. Mario
Hmm.
Chalmers now.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So, uh, he and us being from Chicago, we could go all the way back to high school,
Yep.
and I remember just hearing about this kid at high school at Simeon and what he was doing, and he could control the game, whether it was scoring or just from being a floor general.
Yep.
So I wasn't fortunate enough to see him in high school, but I would always read about him and see the highlights and things of that nature. And
Right.
and then seeing him go to Memphis, I watched a lot of them at Memphis, and obviously in the NBA. So
Right.
um, with that being said, because obviously, like I said, we're gonna have plenty more segments. You know what I'm saying on Derrick Rose, about his opponents, about different things. What do you remember about, first of all, him bursting on the scene? So let's talk about rookie year first. What do you remember most about rookie year, which he won a rookie of the year? What was your take on his rookie year coming into the league?
It was like it was just like he stepped in and just started hooping. You know what I'm saying? You know how most rookies had like that transition period. It wasn't no transition period. He came in killing. You know what I'm saying? The game, it was like, you know how people say like the game too fast at first, you know what I'm saying? But his speed was unmatched. So the game wasn't too fast for him. If anything, shit, he was too fast for the game. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I remember the most is because, man, you know how people like, man, he can't live up to the hype. Man, shit, that kid came in doing his thing, man, right off the bat.
And I didn't expect the scoring like that. You know what I'm saying? Because the way that it was said in high school, even in college, that he
Mm-hmm.
was a floor general and a facilitator. So I didn't expect to be honest, I didn't expect the scoring, you know what I'm saying? I didn't expect him to explode on the scene, scoring the basketball as well as he did. I thought he would be more of a floor general, but and him and guys like, of course you had the Allen Iversons, of course you had
Mm-hmm.
um, the Baron Davises and guys like that. But for this era, see, but you okay, you had the Allen Iverson who was more who was the size of a point guard, but
Mm-hmm.
pretty much the scoring and everything like that of a two guard or the game of
Right.
a two guard,
Right.
to the point where people felt it was best to take Iverson off the ball and put Eric Snow in there as the point guard
Right.
and do that, right? But a player like Rose, even though he was scoring the way he did, it was never a thought like we got to take him off the ball as well, because he was able to do both so well. He
He's
was
able to
able
do
to
the both.
score as well as
Get people in the
assist the
game.
basketball. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's a plus in his game.
I think the reason why like people like yourself thought that he wouldn't be scoring like that is because Derrick didn't mind playing team ball. Also, Derrick he didn't mind playing in the system. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to understand. Like think about players that came out of a system where we thought the same thing. System players where they weren't really killing like that in college, but once they got to the league, it was different. You know what I'm saying? Because like think about like a Duke. Duke made you play within their system.
Mm-hmm.
So once they got out that system though, most of them was killers. You know what I'm saying?
Or sometimes it was the other way around. Sometimes they were killers in the system and
That's
got to
North
the league.
Carolina.
No, because that's a knock on Duke players. You will hear that because think about it. Besides the latest influx of the Jason Tatums and all that, think about over the years, man. You ain't really got no killers from Duke that's in the league.
Yeah, I'm talking about back in the day though. I mean, all I know is I know Kyrie was hurt, but
But
Kyrie
no,
didn't
think
really have
about
no
back in the day
numbers.
before that. Tyler Harrisberry ain't on nothing. And go back, Christian Laettner got to the league and wasn't no star. Um, you know what I'm saying? I know Grant Hill was, but he got hurt.
Yeah, Grant
But
Hill was.
Bobby Hurley didn't do nothing. You know what
Bobby
I'm saying?
Hurley got hurt though. I
Yeah,
mean, I can't really say about Bobby Hurley because Bobby Hurley got hurt.
but a
I
lot
think
of
Bobby
guys,
Hurley would have been a great NBA player had he not got hurt.
yeah, but a lot of it's not like you got a whole bunch of all stars and MVPs and stuff like that from Duke, even though they were like that in the league.
Yeah, I mean that's true though. I agree with you on
Yeah.
that. But I just say like most of these system players, when they playing within that system, like even in high school, you gotta understand like in high school, that's a system that they running. So even though Derrick kind of shined, he wasn't really putting up numbers like that all the time. He did put up numbers though, but he wasn't afraid to play in the system because he knew how good he was. So it really didn't matter.
Yeah. So MVP year. What do you remember
Mhm.
about MVP year?
Man, I think a lot of stuff is about speaking stuff in existence, and then also for media wise, when you put it out there, now it's like it's out there in the air. And I think he did that beginning of the year, right?
When he asked, why not me?
Yeah. And then on top of that, he went out there and performed. You know, your team won 62 games that year. You know, you went out there performing. Pretty much everybody that you stepped in front of, you killed their ass. Now, people say LeBron had a better year, but because he went to Miami, you know, so he was deemed the villain and all of that shit, so he didn't get it because of that. But I still say he had a phenomenal year. You know, he took his team to the Eastern Conference Finals, which even though the MVP is the regular season award, so we can't really count the you know what I'm saying, the playoffs. But I think he put the league on notice, and then he went out there and did what he did. I think it was a phenomenal year for him, regardless of what people may say. Like, you got some people who say like he shouldn't have got it or whatever like that. But I think it was multiple faces of the league at that particular time. Of course, you had LeBron, you had Kobe, but then you had a young, hungry Derrick Rose who was killing the scene, and they had to market him. You know what I'm saying? They had to. And shit, he put it, you know, they say, put your money where your mouth is. He went out there and performed. That was a hell of a year for him, and a hell of a year for just the Bulls itself.
It was a very fun year.
Hell yeah.
And like for the sake of the argument about him and LeBron as far as the MVP situation. Now LeBron had a better statistical year. He had a better statistical year. He had a better supporting cast. I probably would say with D Wade and Chris Bosh, you know, joining them being perennial all stars and all NBA players who joined together or whatever. But due to the storyline, due to this excitement, everything like that, I think giving D Rose that MVP was warranted and was the right decision at that time. Because you could look back, because now you see people doing it. How you say they said, you know, they brought up LeBron had a better year. You see a lot of people doing that, and you could put other people's MVP years statistically up against Derrick Rose's, and you know what I'm saying, some of them are better and stuff. But like I say, due to the excitement and due to everything around it and the way they were winning games and stuff like that, I think it was warranted, and I think he definitely deserved the MVP. You know what I'm saying, that year.
Yeah, I agree.
And I had no problem with him, you know, getting that or whatever. And to become the youngest MVP ever in the history of the game at what, 22 years old?
Yeah, I believe so.
To come in and you know, get an MVP. And I'm gonna tell you this: the basketball gods robbed him, and that's obvious. You'd be like, "Duh, okay, yeah, they robbed him injury-wise or whatever." He wasn't like, okay. You know how you up until the Michael Jordan, the Kobe Bryants, you know what I'm saying, all them guys, they all came in athletic and just balling off their athleticism, right? And then it came a time where they had to change their game because they couldn't rely on the athleticism as much. Right. And they had to change their game from a reckless style to more of a controlled style where, you know, probably more jump shooting or posting up and things of that nature, right? But they were able to play recklessly for years first. You know what I'm saying? Just basically just live off straight athleticism. You know what I'm saying? Mike attacking that rim and you know what I'm saying, just weaving through traffic, and same thing with Kobe and stuff like that. And then they were forced to change it after year 6, year 7, somewhere like that, after being able to play 6 years of reckless basketball. You know what I'm saying? He was robbed of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, obviously he was robbed of it his whole career. He was robbed his whole career. But he was even robbed of those years of just showing that I'm a freak out here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, he showed it, but like you said, he should have got at least about 7 years of it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just finna be out here just raw. You know what I'm saying? Like them other guys were able, and you know, my favorite guy, Russ, was able to do that for a long period of time. You know what I'm saying? And to just show that I'm just this freak athlete. You know what I'm saying? Like this.
Yeah.
and Rose wasn't. And I don't know if you remember when Chris Paul came into the league, he was more a little more high flying and wreck, you know what I'm saying? Even though he
Yeah,
always played a control point guard type of game,
yeah,
but he was more of that too. A lot of people forget that. And then he had a knee injury and he, kind of changed it to a more of a, what
yeah.
I'm saying, a below the rim type of game. He was allowed that opportunity to do so. And I think that, well, I'm asked that. Do you think if after Rose's first injury, which was the ACL,
Hmm.
he didn't, when he came back, he didn't really show signs of switching up. Do you think he would have switched up, or do you think he still would have tried to rely on his athleticism the way that he was?
I think he still tried to rely on it because he's still young. You know what I'm saying? He was still young when it happened. You got to understand. He was like 23, 24 when he came back. You're still young, so you still feel like you can go out there and do it. You know, so I think if maybe he would have switched it up a little bit, like he did later on, then I think all the injuries that he had prior to the ACL probably wouldn't have happened. But he was still trying to be explosive. You remember he went to the USA, after the injury, still dunking and doing all, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I believe he would have, if he would have switched it up, it would have been a lot different. But I know for him, and I'm not speaking for him because I can't say I never spoke to him before, and I'm not gonna say, this something that he would say, but I would say just looking on the outside looking in, that he was just blessed to have a long career like he did. You know what I'm saying? And then like I was looking at his numbers out of the 15, 16 seasons that he played, he only had 4 of them where he wasn't in double digit scoring. And then that New York year, I don't even want to count that shit because they didn't play him. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, he still had a great NBA career. I think he lead right now. You could fact check me, but I think he lead right now the career average of like what, like 18 or something like that.
17 and 5.
Okay, okay. So I
Yeah.
mean, I know I was close around that. So I mean, that's a good career. And I don't want to talk about it right now, but we'll talk about it later about, as far as the Hall, like really get in depth with it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's something that's, near dear to my heart because, my thing is he should get in. Like, absolutely. Like, it ain't no if he should get in. It's a 0% chance, 1% chance, 2% chance. I think 100% they should get in. But we'll dive into that
Yeah,
more in depth.
we're diving into that because I like to know, what leg you standing on, basically. But like you say,
Yeah.
that's a conversation for another time. But let me ask you this. So you saying he would have switched his game up and this, that, and the other, but or how you said he came back, he still was kind of playing the same. But
Yeah.
is that like asking Barry Sanders not to juke? You know what I'm saying? Because that was what set him apart. You know what I'm
I
saying? Like
mean, yeah.
that's what made him better than, what I'm saying, than the others, because I have this freakish athleticism. You know what I'm saying? Like I have this athleticism that maybe a Russell Westbrook is probably the only guard ever in the, what I'm saying, in the league, point guard that's
Hmm.
as athletic as he was. So if that's what's my calling card, if that's what got me here, whatever, so to speak, it's hard for me to just change that, you know what I'm saying, all of a sudden.
Yeah. I think, but I also think that have to do with youth too, though. You know what I'm saying? Youth, if when you get older, you realize you got to do it. But when you that young and people expecting you to be the same player coming off an injury, of course you're trying to meet those expectations and prove people wrong all at the same time. I think that's what he was trying to do. So, because you realize later on in his career, even though people was like stupid enough to say, "Oh, he can't dunk no more," you stupid to think this man can't dunk no more. He's choosing not to dunk anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like you're a fool to think that Derrick Rose can't dunk. Even right now, at 30 some years old, you think this man can't dunk. Like you stupid to think that. Is he making a choice not to do it? Absolutely, because he know the wear and tear on his legs of because you got to explode up and come back. You smart enough to understand the magnitude of what your body going through when you do something like that. So you had to switch it up at a certain point. But when you that young, you trying to prove people wrong. You come off an injury like that, you trying to prove them wrong. You trying to, show them, man, I'll be because I remember when they came out of injury, man, his vertical is even more than what it was before he got injured. You know what I'm saying? Which probably was true. I don't know, but it's all about trying to prove people wrong. And I think, I ain't gonna say that anything was wrong with that, but I think that's what he did. To the detriment of, him getting more injuries.
Right. So just to kind of sum it up, man. Thanks, Derrick, for the excitement that you brought back to the city. Starting with being at Simeon and through college and also in the NBA. You brought a lot of excitement back to the city. You brought a lot of hope back to the city because we really thought we fit to win these championships and everything like that.
Oh,
Which
absolutely.
again is another topic because we
Yeah.
always had Miami in our way. So Bron and
We
Miami in the way.
we
But
gonna dive into that too.
yeah. So uh, thank you. Thank you. That's what I would have to say to him. Because again, he brought a lot of hope back to the city. He brought a lot of excitement and fanfare. He made us rush home to watch the games again on a Tuesday night, Monday night. You know what I'm saying? Where
Yeah.
it didn't have to be a prime time game for us to want to watch it again because we knew that something exciting was gonna happen when we turned on the TV to watch Derrick Rose play. Um, so again, just happy retirement. You know what I'm saying? And I hope he like stays around the game in some capacity. I know he got his son that
Yeah.
what I'm saying, that he raising and he got his son hooping and stuff. But other than that, I hope he stays around the game, maybe in a coaching uh, position or advisor or trainer, what I'm saying, something like that. But I definitely think a scout, something. But I definitely think he needs to stay around the game and don't just disappear because you are a pillar in Chicago. Um, you are a role model and a beam of hope that kids can look at and see, that you can make it. A kid coming from Inglewood, you know what I'm saying, and having to make it through the conditions and stuff that he did. So again, that's just my word to him, man. Thank you, congratulations, and I just wish him the best.
Yeah, I mean, I can say more, but I'm gonna leave it at that, man. Like I said, only thing I say is I wish you the best in your retirement, man. You always been my favorite player from the time you stepped on that court in Chicago as a Chicago Bull. Of course, I followed you for high school and college, but I'll openly admit that once you became a Chicago Bull, and I've seen the way you played and your character, man, you've been my favorite player. I got pretty much every jersey. You know what I'm saying? I wear them, faithfully. So, yes, sir.
Well, all right, and like I say, we're gonna peel the layers back on this thing because it's a
Yeah.
lot of different topics that could come from a Derrick Rose conversation.
Yes, sir.
And I like I say, I got a lot of topics to discuss when it comes to Derrick Rose. So again, um, tune in to Bringing the Bins, all the platforms. Check out the YouTube channel. Check out the subscribe, like, comment. Um, all that. Check out the Facebook page. Check out the Instagram. So, yeah, another episode. Business.